Hello, my name is Josh, and I'm a watchaholic. Welcome to Horology Insanity.
What is up, my watch friends? So, check this out. I want to just tell a little story real quick, and I'm going to call it a roller coaster of watch hobby emotions. Even though, well, if you know me well, I'm not an emotional person. I don't know if that's my Asperger's or what it is, my IQ. I'm just not very emotional. However, I think that others might be able to either enjoy or maybe relate to the experience that I just went through. And I would like to tuck this under the category of videos that I make on generosity. Now, I have a playlist on generosity, and one of the themes of this channel is generosity. If you go back to like my announcement video of the 500 subscriber giveaway, you'll be able to learn more about that. But basically, like, God loves a cheerful giver, and not one that gives out of, compulsion or reluctantly, but because they want to. And that's what I want to be. And the cool thing is that as I go down this watch hobby path, I've been able to kind of circle myself around and envelop myself within a bunch of other people who also either want that or enjoy that. They may or may not do it for the same reason that I do. I don't know, but it's cool. Like, it's really cool. It's really cool to be around. It's awesome to be able to experience it, to hear of the generosity of others. In fact, I think one day I want to do a whole video that just kind of talks about the generosity of others. So, for example, one of the groups I'm in, one of the guys had gotten laid off from their job, and he was trying to do the interview process. And if anybody's had to go through that recently, I had to go through it a couple years ago. It is not fun. Like, it's not. And in so many ways, it is just soul sucking. Like, it'll suck the life out of you. And the whole uncertainty of the matter, and it's tough, I mean, it's an ability for you to put your trust into some things, hopefully God, but just the uncertainty of things and not knowing what's going to come. So some other buddies chipped in together and got him a Bling Master, a Casio, a G-Shock gold stainless steel metal G. That's what I'm talking about. And they were kind enough to kind of pull their generosity together, get him that watch. So as a pick-me-up, and as a vote of confidence in him and what he was going to go do. And it was really cool because I talked to him about it afterwards, and he would wear it to all of his interviews from that point forward. And it kind of reminded him of his watch buddies and the support that they were providing him during that time. And you just want to talk about some fantastic stuff. And here's what's funny. I have a list a mile long of those types of stories. And so I only mention that as to say, one, I'm going to tell you about one that I just went through. It was yesterday. I wanted to film this last night, but I was tired and I had worked late and everything. But so I'm doing it today while it's still fresh. But yeah, lots of these stories. Tell me what y'all think. I guess my hope is to maybe spread generosity throughout this watch hobby to more individuals. That would be one of my goals. Not that when I say that generosity is a theme of the channel, it's not just necessarily for me to be more generous, because I'm going to be honest with you, I had to learn how to be more generous. That for a long time, I was not as generous as I could have been. And it's been a beautiful, beautiful, almost like a flower opening up. It's been a beautiful thing to see the more generous that I've become, or that God has made me. Now, with that, let's talk about the roller coaster, okay? Switching gears. Now, I'm not going to name names. I don't know if my buddies do or do not want me to name them. I never know. Like, if you're a buddy of mine, I don't know if you ever want me to name you on the channel or not. And so I usually just go by the rule of anonymity when I do this. But let's just talk about it this way. I have one friend who has a copper Ming that I have adored since the day it came out. I did not get an opportunity to get one when they released, and none of the other Mings have kind of tickled my fancy. Y'all know that I love salmon and pink, and this copper Ming, I think it would have gone well within this collection. But so I wanted it, didn't get it, but my buddy had one. Now, my buddy lives hours and hours and hours away by plane ride. He's like almost on the other side of the planet from where I'm at. But we had talked about him maybe letting me borrow it so that I could experience it, in real life and film it compared to my others, but I'd return it to him. But one of the drawbacks, or one of the concerns that he had, and rightfully so, was these Mings have overinflated in such a manner. The prices these things are going for are ridiculous. Like almost crazier than Rolex pricing. Ming is the hotness. And it's funny to see it happen because, don't quote me. If I can find it, I'll put it up on the screen right now. But when they were originally released, I think it was like $1,200. And I think it's a great $1,200 watch. But I think some of these are going for $4,000 or $5,000, whatever, $1,000. And I don't know that it's a $4,000 or $5,000 watch. My buddy kind of agreed. He said it's a fantastic $1,200 watch, but even he is surprised at the overinflated prices that the things are going for. And so, nevertheless, there's a concept that many of y'all are probably aware of. My buddy Tennessee Mike did a great video on it, but it's called dibs. And so basically dibs means if I part with a watch, the person who has dibs, they'll be the first one that I offer to sell it to. Some people also talk about like a first right of refusal, meaning, usually dibs implies that you're gonna buy something, right? Dibs comes with the notion that the deal is already made. You agreed to it as the buyer, you're gonna buy it. It's just a matter of whenever the person wants to part with the watch. But in this case, my Ming buddy had kind of given me tentative dibs, right? He had said, hey, whenever he sells it, I would be the first one that he'd offer it to. And we had talked about it back and forth and talking about the overinflation. So one of the reasons we didn't end up just shipping it to me so I could borrow it was because we were concerned that any insurance that we would get to cover the watch from UPS or whatever, that they would only cover the original price paid for it. And that's a big risk. We didn't know if they would pay for the replacement value, again, because the prices on these things, the values on them have skyrocketed. And so that was a valid concern. And I was supposed to call around to some insurance and some postal places, and I never did get around to it. And so I kind of had tentative dibs on this Ming that I wanted it. If I'm honest, I wouldn't have paid the overinflated price for it. So that's another matter we'll talk about here in a second. Anyway, out of the blue, I talked to this buddy of mine, I don't know, sometimes several times a day. He's probably one of the closest watch buddies I have in this hobby, other than like my buddy Jay, who is an actual like lifelong friend for the past like 20 years. So, but no, this buddy here who had the Ming, good friend of mine, and he had an opportunity present itself to him where someone wanted the Ming so bad that they were willing to straight up trade a Tudor Pelagos, even Steven, for the Ming. Now, I don't know how much new Pelagos is going for. I don't know what a used one's going for. I know that it's a whole lot more than $1,200. And so my buddy couldn't turn down the deal. He took it. He's trading the Ming for the Pelagos, and he then writes me to break the news to me. And, I'm going to be honest with you. When I first read it, I was a little disappointed. I wasn't sure what to think. I mean, now keep in mind, I am a man of my word if I am nothing else. And, if I say I'm going to do something, I go above and beyond to do it and that kind of thing. And I don't think that my Ming buddy meant to break his word. I don't think he did. And technically, we didn't necessarily have terms of agreement or anything like that. It was more of a, hey, I love that Ming and I'd love to take it off your hands. And I bought several watches from, we send watches back and forth to each other all the time. And, but we didn't have any set details, no set plans for this. It was just a, hey, maybe one day. But he never wore the Ming, which is an interesting one. He says that he liked it, but he never really wore it. And so it was just kind of sitting there. And so he did have interest in the Pelagos. And so when that deal came up, and again, keep in mind, that's such a good deal for him. I couldn't knock him at all for taking that deal. I just couldn't. But, you know, he tried to tell me, he's like, hey, I'm really sorry. I hope this isn't too disappointing or anything like that. You know, and I told him, no worries at all. Like, if I'm honest, I'm a little sad that I won't get to see it or experience it in person, because more than having it in my collection, that's probably what I really wanted, is at a minimum just to see it and experience it. Because a lot of these watches, I don't know that I will ever in my life see one of those copper Ming. I just don't think, like, they're so rare and they're going for stupid amounts of value right now. So I just don't know that I'm going to have an opportunity to see it in person. And so there was a little bit of that involved. So, but here's where I kind of, you know, I debate myself or talk to myself in my head a lot. And I verbalized this to him as well. I mean, it was in a chat, but I told him the same thing. I said, you know what, as much as I wanted that watch, I know myself, and I know that I set thresholds on what I will buy and how much I'll buy it for. And the truth of the matter is, I would not have paid the value of that Pelagos for that. I wouldn't have done it. I wouldn't have traded for the value of that Pelagos. You know, I wouldn't have done it. And so at that rate, and I'm all about win-win solutions. I'm all about any deal needs to be mutually beneficial, in my opinion, and mutually agreeable. I do not get the nonsense that goes on with haggling and really trying to be the number one, you know, oh, I can only make a good deal if it's at someone else's sacrifice. No. That's all nonsense. All deals, truly good deals, should be mutually agreeable and win-win situations. They just should. Maybe that's my opinion. Somebody else could disagree. Oh well, y'all have fun with that. But I'm just saying, like, win-win solutions. And I don't know that even if my buddy had offered me the Ming, it would have been a win-win. I don't think it would be, because I wouldn't have ponied up for a Pelagos. You know, or I wouldn't have ponied up a Pelagos for it. I just wouldn't have done it. And so with that, and with all those circumstances, right, that was a roller coaster wave of bad news that kind of came to me, only because now, you know, there's something to just having something being out there, like some anticipation for something that might occur that you might enjoy. And I'll be honest with you, just always in the back of my mind, I had a little bit of joyful anticipation that I might get to see a copper Ming. And so some of the disappointment was like, that's not there. And not only is it not there anymore, but that won't be an ongoing anticipation of joy for me, right? And so it's like, okay. Of course, here's the trick, right? When I say at the end of all my videos that to remember what really matters, and it's not watches, I mean that. That Ming means nothing. Like, it's dust compared to the friendship that I have with this buddy of mine, right? It is nothing. And so, yeah, in the grand schemes of things, it is what it is. And here's the trick. If I were him, I would have made the same deal. I would have done the exact same thing he did. It's what he should have done, aside from me or any thoughts that I might have had on having dibs on it, right? Just as it is. And so with that, changing gears a little bit, I then was going to buy another watch from another buddy of mine. Now, keep in mind that I'm going to call one my Seiko buddy and one my Ming buddy. I've told you all about my Ming buddy and what I kind of went down with that yesterday. But my Seiko buddy, he had an OG unworn SARB065. So this is the white cocktail time. Some people say it kind of is light blue, kind of an ice looking color. And he had that. And I had been talking to him for a long time now that I would love to buy it. And like most of these things, it's like, hey, there's no rush on any of this. You know, whenever it's convenient for you, then that's cool. Right? Again, win-win solutions, whatever's good. There's way too many watches out there to be impatient or to be in a rush or to try to invoke my friend to do it fast or something. I'm not all for that. But my buddy had this watch, and so he had double checked his stuff, and he was like, okay, yeah, I'm ready to sell it. I said, great. So I went ahead and PayPal'd him the funds for that one. And it was about an hour later, my Seiko buddy writes me back, and he refunded my money. And at first I was like, oh, what's going on? Is everything okay? Like, yeah, I wasn't sure what to do. And then he tells me, hey, my Ming buddy wants to buy me the SARB065 as a gift. And out of some generosity, I don't want to say to make up for the fact that he revoked the dibs on the Ming, but he knew that was something that I was looking forward to. And this guy is super generous. My Ming buddy, like all these people that I'm talking about right now are super, super generous. And so this is just another example where, to maybe brighten my day, after getting the news that the Ming is now gone, he paid my other buddy, my Seiko buddy, for the Seiko, refunded my money. And yeah, so all of this is like in a circle of a couple of hours. And like a lot of things, it's like you're multitasking with work. Oh, I'm taking a break. Okay, let me check Discord or something like that while I'm on break. So all of this is going on, and I'm just blown away by this generosity. But here is the final part of the story, and this is what my buddy doesn't know. And in fact, I've got to delay publishing this until after all of this plays out, because this just occurred, mind you. This just occurred. What my buddy doesn't know, my Ming buddy doesn't know, I have this sitting here waiting for him as a gift that I am getting ready to send him, but I've been a little delayed. Y'all will know I'm wearing it now. My absolute favorite watch is the 5610-BA. I've got it on this combi, and in fact, check this out. I have a brand new, fresh V1 Combi that I'm giving to him as well. And so these are coming here. If anybody wants to see it, here's like the tag. I ordered this on eBay. They ship it from Japan. But yeah, 5610-BA. So my buddy is doing all of this, right? He breaks the news to me about the Ming. He then pays for the Seiko for my Seiko buddy. And all of this, while I think not knowing that I have this that I'm getting ready to send out to. It's like a circle. It's just all a big circle. But yeah, I actually have this. And the reason why I got this was because he had watched my videos on the 5610-BA and just talking about how much I loved it. And again, this is, I don't want to say, he didn't use the word BFF, right? But maybe instead of best friend, maybe best watch friend, so BWF. And this guy is definitely one of my BWFs, if we want to make that a thing. So he was saying, you know what? Because he's into G-Shocks too. And he's like, you know what? He's not experienced this blue one in person before. But he says, if it's my favorite, then it might be something that he wants to check out or even have in his collection, again, for the sentimentality of the matter. Whenever he would wear this, he would probably be able to think about me or our friendship or just whatever shenanigans we get into over the years, sending each other watches, etc. And I thought that was really cool. And so I hope he hadn't bought one of these yet. I told him, I was like, well, don't buy one, because I knew that I wanted to gift him one of these, but I couldn't tell him that because I want it to be a surprise for him. And so in the midst of all of this, again, roller coaster of emotions, at least for a non-emotional guy like me. So Ming gone, I'm sad. Get the news that I get a free Seiko as a gift because my buddy worked that out kind of behind my back in a glorious and wonderful way, a very kind way. And all the while I have this sitting here. It's probably going to go in the mail tomorrow to him. And yeah, so the V1, it's going to mimic right here, 5610-BA on a V1 Combi. This is going out to him so that we can have, we'll call it BWF, Best Watch Friends. So maybe, I don't know, part of me has wondered, like, should I make this a thing? Like, if you happen to get one of these as a gift from me, well, then you're one of my BWFs. BWF. I feel like a 12-year-old girl talking about BWFs, like that's a thing. Isn't that what they say? BFF, best friend forever. I'm just old enough to not know what any, or lit. I don't know what any of these things mean. Any of them. Anyway, that's what I wanted to talk about today. I know the video ran a little bit long, but I hope it was an enjoyable kind of story for you. Again, this is kind of story time, just kind of what happens in my hobby. And that's what I want my channel to be about. I want to talk about just what it's like doing this hobby with some fantastic and incredible people. And yeah, let's just show, there's mine. And so here we go. This is getting ready to get sent out. But generosity, what do y'all think of it? Do you try to employ generosity into your hobby? And if not, why? I'd be curious to know why. And if you do, I also would like to know why. Because it really is. It's a beautiful and wonderful thing. Like, it's enjoyable knowing that I have this to send out to him and that I got a combi bracelet for it and everything. This is such an enjoyable part of the hobby too. Anyway, until we talk again, my friends, please remember what really matters. And that's not watches like the Ming, but it is watches for BWF. See, I can't even say my own thing that I'm trying to make a style. Anyway, yeah, this matters. Giving generosity matters. All right, my friends, keep the insanity sane.